and also practicing the new normal.
Haji sini.
Kuala Lumpur, yang berbahagia Datuk Bandaraya Muhammad Tamil, Deputy Secretary.
The Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Haji Mahdi Cekna, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, High Commissioners and Heads of Missions, yang berbahagia Datuk Bandaraya Muhammad Tamil, Deputy Secretary General of Investment of MITI, yang berbahagia Datuk Amran Muhammad Zain, Deputy Secretary General for Bilateral Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, yang berusaha Muhammad Azmi bin Zulkifli, CEO of Invest KL, yang dihormati DCP Datuk Yahya Osman, Deputy Chief of Police Kuala Lumpur, Senior Government Officers from MITI, DPKL and Government Agencies, yang berbahagia Datuk Invest KL colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for that warming up. It's good on the bright and early morning to just warm up the body. It's something we have not done for the longest time since the pandemic. So welcome to all of you. A very good morning to this morning's exclusive breakfast with the Mayor dialogue session hosted by Westcale Corporation. It is good to see everyone physically looking healthy and energized after almost 2 years of hibernation from the pandemic. To some of the familiar faces who had attended past breakfast sessions, may I say, great to reconnect, Your Excellencies. While those heads of missions who may be attending this event for the first time, may I say, welcome to Kuala Lumpur, and may your stay in Malaysia be a memorable, fruitful, and wonderful tour of duty. I'm told some 60% of the heads of missions present today are relatively new to Kuala Lumpur. Maybe not new in the number of years you've been here. Some of you may have arrived 2 years ago, but because of the pandemic, we only see you probably in your mask and through Zoom. So it's great to meet all of you face to face. As some of you Excellencies may be aware, the first Ambassador's Breakfast with the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur was held in 2015. I recall these were very productive sessions, bridging conversation between the government, in particular City Hall of KL, and the foreign diplomatic officials. As a consequence of the positive outcome, the breakfast session event is now almost an annual affair to enable productive discussion on Kuala Lumpur and its progress as a world-class sustainable city with constructive input by Your Excellencies. Today, we're delighted and honored to have with us the 13th Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Haji Mahdi Cekna, with us as the pivotal figure for this morning's discussion. An enlightened and highly qualified town planner by profession, he had served City Hall for 38 years prior to being appointed an advisor and subsequently anointed as the mayor on 1st October 2020, right in the midst of the pandemic. I had the privilege of many engagements with him when I was on the advisory board of DPKL from 2008 to 2014. He is one who thinks out of the box and receptive to suggestions and acceptance of new trends. I'm sure this morning Datuk Banda will share some of his thoughts, future plans, and strategies for the city of Kuala Lumpur with all of us. Fresh from his return from the Dubai Expo and COP26 in Glasgow, I'm sure the subject of ESG, climate change, and net zero carbon agenda will be part of his articulation too. I know he's brought a very heavyweight team. Some of his executive directors are here also today. Investigator, I hope, and they'll do the moderation together. Wishing everyone here season's greetings.
I would like to invite Deputy Secretary General for Investment.
Yang berbahagia Datuk Amran Muhammad Zain, Deputy Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen. Luckily, they are doing this event today. Thank you to Invest KL for leading this initiative and for creating a powerful platform to drive engagement and conversations between the government and the foreign diplomatic representatives. We should have more sessions such as this, and I hope with the COVID situation being maybe over, the what to use it. Hopefully we have more of this. Invest KL is an agency under the Ministry of International Trade and Industry focused on attracting global multinational companies to set up regional hubs in the greater KL area. While they have successfully achieved their initial goal of attracting 100 Fortune 500 and Forbes 2000 companies by 2020, the disruption caused by COVID-19 did not slow them down at all. I note that in the first half of 2021, InvestKL has attracted nearly 2 billion ringgit in new investments. In the next 10 years, that is by 2030, InvestKL target will be to secure 20 billion ringgit in new investment. Another feat I am confident that InvestKL will be able to achieve. Aligned with the National Investment Aspiration, or better known as NIA blueprint, these new investments are of high quality, high impact, technology-oriented investment in new growth areas that also focus on long-term sustainability that is compatible with the environmental, social, and governance goals. Together with the relevant government ministries and agencies, we continue to work towards strengthening Malaysia's competitiveness, to implement open, transparent, and business-friendly trade and investment policies to strengthen the country's economic fundamentals, all to support Malaysia's path towards becoming a leading investment destination in Asia. With that, thank you for having us, and we look forward to hearing more from Dato' Bandar Kuala Lumpur. Thank you very much.
Floor to the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, Yang Berbahagia Dato' Sri Mahadi Chenga, to give his presentation. Over to you.
Thank you, Dato' Sri Dr. Michael Yang, giving the kind introduction, brief and very accurate. Yang dihormati DCP Dato' Tahir Osman, Kuala Lumpur Deputy Chief of Police, Yang Berusaha Puan Nurul Nadia binti Razali, Deputy Director of Security, National Security Council Kuala Lumpur, Your Excellencies, Senior Management Team from DBKL, MITI and InvestKL. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to one and all. Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Dato' Sri Dr. Michael Yang, Chairman of InvestKL, and Encik Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, CEO of InvestKL, for arranging this exclusive breakfast with the Mayor Dialogue session. Thank you to Your Excellencies, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Embassy senior officials, and senior Malaysian government officials for honoring us with your presence today. I trust this session will provide a clearer perspective of Kuala Lumpur's journey towards becoming a sustainable, resilient, and inclusive city for all. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to walk you through our fair city's history and some of its challenges over the years. Kuala Lumpur first found its footing as a humble tin mining settlement in the 19th century. Since then, it has experienced vast development, growing and flourishing into a thriving city spanning 243 square kilometers. More than just home to a growing population of 1.8 million, our city today stands strong as Malaysia's engine of growth, shaping the future of the nation. While we welcome the growth of our beloved city, it is not without its challenges. Indeed, a rising population coupled with climate change has brought on a number of urban issues. This includes traffic congestion, extreme weather, the need for greater urban infrastructure and basic amenities. In addressing the needs of our growing city, KL Central was developed to become a public transportation hub for the city. At the same time, it also connected Kuala Lumpur City to the Kuala Lumpur International Airport and Kuala Lumpur International Airport too. Alongside KL Central, the opening of the Smart Tunnel, Asia's second longest stormwater tunnel in 2007 is testament to Kuala Lumpur's role in equipping the nation with modern infrastructure. As you can see from the video on the screen, the Smart Tunnel in operation. For Greater Kuala Lumpur, this resulted in high gross national income and the creation of various job opportunities for KLites. Kuala Lumpur now stands proudly as the focal point of employment, education, startup businesses, and many other growth prospects. It is crucial that we continue this momentum by proactively working towards developing Kuala Lumpur into a world-class, livable, sustainable, resilient, and inclusive city for all. To this end, it gives me great pleasure to share with Your Excellencies a significant milestone in our journey towards this vision. At the recent 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP26, Kuala Lumpur proudly pledged to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. The pledge is testament to our commitment to reduce 70% of carbon emissions by 2030, as well as achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kuala Lumpur City Hall has developed several master plans and blueprints to ensure that we are well prepared to develop into a world-class, livable, sustainable, resilient, and inclusive city for all. Among our notable plans are Development Plan 4 Kuala Lumpur 2040, Kuala Lumpur Low Carbon Society Blueprint 2030, Kuala Lumpur Pedestrian and Cycling Master Plan 2030, and Kuala Lumpur Climate Action Plan 2050. In pursuing our vision for rebranding of a new Kuala Lumpur, it is important that our goals and plans are aligned with current global sustainability movement. As such, we have incorporated the 17 Sustainable Development Goals into these plans, including the draft Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan 2040, or in short, SP 2040. The draft Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan 2040 was introduced in March 2020 with a vision of developing Kuala Lumpur into a city for all, with an emphasis on sharing, inclusivity, and equality. Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan 2040 aims to balance economic sustainability with the creation of inclusive communities. At the same time, the focus is on greening and beautifying the city, adopting a low-carbon approach, building an efficient mobility system, as well undertaking integrated land management. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, humid climate. To ensure that our city is able to withstand these challenges, Kuala Lumpur City Hall commenced its climate action journey several years ago. We first undertook City Hall focused action through the Kuala Lumpur City Hall's Carbon Management Plan. This was followed by cityscape programs under our Kuala Lumpur Low Carbon Society Blueprint 2030. Kuala Lumpur Low Carbon Society Blueprint 2030 is centered on 3 major thrusts, 10 actions, and 245 programs. Through the execution of both these plans, it became apparent that more cityscape programs were required to adequately address the worsening climate hazards within our city. More importantly, there is a need to ensure that our climate action aligns with wider effort to be more resilient city, which addresses inequalities and protects vulnerable and marginalized communities. Thus, the Kuala Lumpur Climate Action Plan 2050 was naturally the next steps in our climate action journey. In collaboration with C40 cities, the Kuala Lumpur Climate Action Plan 2050 prioritizes actions that will yield the most co-benefits for KLIs, including mitigatory actions that will lead to cost savings and reduce air pollution, as well as adaptation in terms of improving public health and quality of life. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you some of the tangible initiatives that have taken place as a result of our blueprint. One key step that we have undertaken is the installation of solar panels on all City Hall-owned buildings and facilities. Our aim is to show residents that it is indeed feasible to move towards greener sources of energy. In taking this further, we now also require the adoption of greener facilities, such as rainwater harvesting system within all new developments in the city. Another important initiative that we are currently spearheading is the improvement of solid waste management in the city. To this end, our One Community, One Recycling initiative was introduced to our public housing residents and tenants. Now, our tenants will be able to pay the rent using their trash. You bring the trash, you settle your rent with you. So this is one of the initiatives that have been done by Kuala Lumpur City Hall, or DBKL. We are also looking at recycling of construction debris, partly owing to the numerous ongoing urban renewal projects. As Kuala Lumpur City Planner, we are cognizant that comfort, convenience, and accessibility are key to the improved adaptation of a greener lifestyle among KLIs. Consequently, we have incorporated a new bicycle and pedestrian network into the city that is lined with shady trees. We are also in the midst of upgrading and widening pedestrian walkways to provide seamless connectivity between the city and surrounding neighborhoods, including Ampang Hilly area, home to many ambassadors and high commissioners. They walk, right? Additionally, a new 15-kilometer green network is being constructed to link Wan Semanju and residential areas such as Damansara High, Kenny Hills, and Bansal Hills to the Kuala Lumpur Central Business District. In furthering our climate action journey, we have launched our pilot project, Carbon Neutral Growth Center for Wan Semanju. Under this pilot project, we aim to develop a vision for Kuala Lumpur to be a city for all. We have adopted a comprehensive two-pronged approach with a top-down strategic visioning framework defining overarching project objectives complemented by bottom-up problem-solving initiatives. The bottom-up initiatives comprise of actions that are identified by local communities to solve problems or make improvements within their neighborhoods. Kuala Lumpur was ranked 9th in the world within the highest tourist arrivals in 2019 as reported by Euromonitor. Indeed, tourism has always been one of the major contributors to Malaysia's economy. Unfortunately, due to the far-reaching effects of COVID-19, international tourism and closely linked sectors suffered an estimated loss of USD 2.4 trillion in 2020. It goes without saying that this affected many local businesses and the livelihood of countless airlines. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, alongside our strong emphasis on environmental sustainability, we are also working hard to bring Kuala Lumpur back on its feet by ensuring the sustainability of our businesses. Accordingly, our focus has been on developing more efficient, accessible, and simplified regulations to create a more conducive business environment for entrepreneurs and investors to facilitate business growth and expand job opportunities for the residents of Kuala Lumpur. Testament to this, Kuala Lumpur was ranked as the second best global performer in the management of construction permits. I think Datuk Bahria is so familiar with this. So this is the fact of the book. We have reached a certain level now. I think we can be happy with that. So for example, it takes local businesses only 9 procedures to obtain all required permits and authorizations to build a warehouse. Based on the report by the World Bank, the overall process is 3 times faster than the regional average. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that with these comprehensive efforts, Kuala Lumpur is well on track to develop into a city that is beautiful, safe, sustainable, resilient, and inclusive for all. Importantly, Kuala Lumpur is now ready to resume its role as an investment hub for both regional and international investors. Indeed, we offer foreign investors with intentions to penetrate the ASEAN and Asia-Pacific markets with innumerable advantages. I trust that what I have shared with you today or this morning has provided a better understanding of Kuala Lumpur's journey towards a more hopeful and prosperous future. Before I end the presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to inform Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kuala Lumpur will be celebrating the Golden Jubilee on February 1st, 2022. A total of 50 programs are lined up to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of Kuala Lumpur from November 2021 until June 2022, which includes social, sports, cultural, and community programs with the city residents and strategic partners of Kuala Lumpur City Hall. This celebration is very important to all of us as it would cultivate the sense of belonging among the KLites with the spirit of Kuala Lumpur, a city for all. I wish to invite Your Excellencies and all ladies and gentlemen to participate in this Kuala Lumpur Golden Jubilee celebration. With that, Your Excellencies, senior officials, ladies and gentlemen, I end my speech. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Great to understand the aspiration and the initiative.
Thank you, Atila. Yang berbahagia Datuk Sri Mahadi, Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, Your Excellency, visionary as well as a plan that's looking at how Kuala Lumpur can be a better place, not just with a team of a city for all, backed by the blueprint that runs from 2030 up to 2050. The point that Datuk Sri made, the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, on a city for all, for the city to be a sharing, to be inclusive, and to create equality will be something that is exciting for many of us in wanting to see what's the developments of the future. With all those attributes in mind too, there are matters of safe city, tourism, as well as business that is also focused on that. I am also delighted and excited, and I'm sure it's being shared by others too, about the Golden Jubilee that the city of Kuala Lumpur will be celebrating on the 1st of February 2022. With those points in mind, I would like to invite Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to share your views, your insights, your opinions for an engaging as well as interactive dialogue with the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, Dato' Sri Mahathir. Can we have the first speaker, please? Yes, Your Excellency, Mr. Charles A.
Thank you very much, Dato' Sri, and I'm sure I speak for all of my colleagues present in thanking you for that excellent presentation, very informative. But it's great that I think we're in the right place going forward with now ambitious targets for net zero across the whole country on how that was going to be resolved, because one thing that we're finding from British companies that are looking to invest is they are looking now much more closely at the carbon intensity of the places that they're looking to invest. And I think every country, if it's going to remain competitive and attract foreign investment, is going to have to address that problem of carbon intensity. I'd be very interested in your thoughts on that. I was also interested to see your references to electric vehicles, and I'm delighted to tell you that the British High Commission has just taken delivery of our first electric vehicle, and I wondered if you could share with us your plans for networks of charging stations, because without that, it's...
Of course, we are also looking at excellencies. We are actually impose a condition on all private developers in the city to actually use at least, Dr. Sulaiman is here, the Executive Director in charge of planning, at least they must have 30% renewable components in their scheme. Green building, all this must come to us to show us that you are actually implementing the condition that has been imposed on you. Talking about electric vehicles, we actually have got, I think it's three numbers. Free ride, go KL buses, fleet, three fleets, free ride, go KL buses. We have got one, first delivery, soon coming, and we wanted to have more electric cars. We would like to have more electric cars, but the initiative must not only come from City Hall itself, it must also be supported by others in the city. As I said, we need to create a new lifestyle, low carbon lifestyle. So to do that, I mentioned a few times in my speech, the visibility is key. So let us do it together. Because why we want to do this? We want to make the planet as a safe space for us, safe place for us to stay, for us and also future generations. So it is the duty of everyone to make sure we contribute and save the planet for everyone. We have to contribute towards that safety. So if you can bring any initiative to reduce the carbon emissions in the city, we definitely support it. But going ahead with the electric vehicles, of course, we are in the process of having good collaboration with private sectors, owners of petrol stations, owners of buildings, to provide the charging stations. We ourselves would be doing or will be offering some, but there are also other parties. The private sectors must also come in to help us to have complete or enough charging station for the electric cars. Excellencies, that's my response.
Just square kilometers. So there's no way on its own it can generate electricity. And if there's going to be one, it's probably going to be use of fossil fuel, which defeats the purpose. I guess the solution is to be more holistic, and this would be taken at a federal level. I recall some probably 15, 20 years ago, Bakun Dam, which was built in Sarawak. It was meant to be power, to be brought into Semenanjung, Malaysia. But for some reason, the cables run through another country and there were some issues. And Bakun Dam at that time was 3,000 megawatt. Drop efficiency about 10%, so it's about 2,700 megawatts. So they were wondering where they're going to spend this energy, which was ready. And credit to the Sarawak government, they created a energy-hungry industrial park called Samalaju, which is between Bintulu and Miri. And for your information, I was slightly involved in the planning of that. Entire 2,700 megawatt is consumed. And the Sarawak government has proceeded to build 2 additional dams now. One is called Param, and the other one I think is Muka. And that will also be consumed fairly quickly because of the targeted industry that they're bringing in. And as you say, I think the more developed countries and corporates are really looking to where they can park their production plant in what they call renewable energy friendly spots. So I think at the central government level, they probably need to build such renewable energy sources in Sarawak and somehow channel it into Semenanjung. So that's probably the bigger picture which I think Kuala Lumpur needs to work with central government agencies. On electrification of vehicle, as you know, the recent budget, the Minister of Finance has generously said from 1st January 2022, there will be zero import duty, no tariff, no sales tax. My latest intelligence tells me that the electric vehicle, it's the Porsche Taycan, 100 units have been totally ordered, except that those will be started at 600,000 ringgit. So now for the general population, we need to think where else we can get what we call affordable electric vehicle. And I think we may be ahead of the curve. I think the cheapest one at the moment is probably the cheapest Tesla is 230,000 ringgit. So it's not going to work. I mean, for the longest time, I think Nissan has got this Micro or Micra, whatever. Even that is very expensive, it's 160,000. And you're going to compete with the Myvis of this world. So from a commercial perspective, not quite workable at the moment. Electrification in terms of charging points, I think every country is facing that issue. Even in the UK, there's no unification between Volvo plug points versus Tesla versus Porsche. I think the industry needs to, hopefully by 2030, when UK ban all non-electric vehicles, they'll find a solution to it. Much like the smartphone route, you use Android, you use iPhone, it's different charging. But I believe the Chinese has found a solution to it. You don't look for charging station. You go into a petrol station, you take your battery out, you swap for a new one and put it in your car and you go. Right? Until battery technology using lithium and all this improve, that is going to be quite challenging. And people are not buying an electric vehicle because it's no fun when you reach typing, you run out of electricity. And your mother-in-law and screaming kids in the back, never mind with the wife. That's my thought, thank you.
Parks and green spaces. I think COVID has shown us the importance of having these spaces and for mental well-being and quality of life. And Kale has some wonderful spaces, which I and my colleagues are enjoying. But could I ask what your long-term plan is to preserve and protect those spaces, but also how to provide more spaces, particularly in those high-density residential areas? Thank you.
It's a very important elements that we need to preserve this. Not only
Go and see with their own eyes the work that DBKL is concluding together with the group called Urbanist. Yes, Urbanist Malaysia. I've been there last week because right after COP26 took place, Hungary is currently hosting a sustainability expo called Planet 2021, and colleagues from the SDG Center are engaged. Another thing I wanted to mention, and thank you, Dr. Bandar, is Nowadays it's all about sports, at least football. And there is a very similar game that was invented in Hungary, and at this point I'd like to say thank you to you. We held the first Tech Ball Mayor Cup just on Sunday, and I'm really happy that we can start this initiative of ours to place these Tech Ball tables in the public parks of KL. So I'm asking your support once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Probably a new spots in the city. We have actually provide or got some location that has been identified. So during this Golden Jubilee celebration, we also put that in as part of the program, sports program, and we hope we get more support from Excellency. And I will also be happy to hear from Excellencies that SDG Center for Kuala Lumpur is working, and I do like to offer others to the other Excellencies to visit us because this SDG Center for Kuala Lumpur, I think the first in the Asia Pacific region, and we are keeping a lot of records, data, just to show as a proof how serious we are in localizing the SDGs. So thank you for that. Thank you, Excellency.
Just to add on years of that. So even if I invited you all, you probably wouldn't come, or you probably dial in. So we hope every year to continue on this. One of the highlights that we recall that program that InvestKL hosted is actually organizing visits to significant development in Kuala Lumpur for ambassadors. And I recall seeing very happy pictures of your predecessors, some of you may have been on it, riding the MRT. That's probably the first time they ride the MRT. They would visit the Smart Tunnel. They have even gone to TRX. So we'd be quite happy to fix a program, perhaps in the second quarter when everything is safe, for you all to look at the progress of Kuala Lumpur towards a sustainable city. So for instance, we could include in the itinerary this sustainable center. Yeah, I think everyone wants to visit the second tallest building in the world. We could facilitate. That's Wawasan 118. I think visit of IT is also important because one of the issues that previous DYTs or Excellencies brought up was on the issue of crime, city safety and all that. But once you visit our CCTV control center, you realize it's quite sophisticated. All the cameras, I don't know how many cameras there are. So there are people sitting there watching if there are snatch thieves and all that. To the extent now we don't hear that much, but it's worthwhile for you all to have a look because it's important for us that when your corporates from your country coming in asking, is it safe to invest in Kuala Lumpur? I think the fact that you've seen that center will give them some assurance. So we definitely like to host that if given the opportunity. So that's something maybe for InvestKL team to look at it. I simply like to go on MRT and go on those buses and those, which normally you don't, right? Because you're so sheltered. So we look forward to hosting that event. Thank you.
Can do lunch and IT.
Extra, so we can do so after that.
Welcome the next Sharif.
It has been music for all the years of my colleagues here because we have many companies here which are already working in KL. I have to thank as Roland and other colleagues InvestKL for the outstanding help to our companies. I think many of our companies are wonderful match, making wonderful match in technological and economic terms with companies in KL, in Malaysia as a whole. I think a very pleasant city. If your plans are fully fulfilled in the near future, this would be amazing. And I wonder. My question is about the financing. I mean, where all this money is going to come from to finance these ambitious projects? Thank you.
Of course, as I said right from the beginning, we need to get a lot of assistance or collaboration with the various parties. As far as City Hall is concerned, we don't have the fund for all that. Directly from our coffer, we don't have that. But we are subject to our yearly program or budget. So those programs that I have touched, that are directly related to our responsibility, like providing the infrastructure, green infrastructure, like walkways, cycling track, or the facilities like park and ride facilities, or the free ride buses, all that's under our control. We definitely want to continue and probably strengthen it and add more to that. But that is a certain aspect that Yun will cover. There are a lot more to be done by other parties. That's why we need to have collaboration, partnership, to make the city achieve what has been in the plan, in the blueprint. But then the other aspect from business friendly, as a city council, we are in control of the procedures, the process involved in certain aspect, especially if I can be more specific here, in dealing with the construction that is under our control, how fast we can process the application, make it more simpler, so that the landowner or the investors would not be delayed or involved in delay, because that will increase the holding cost and definitely will be actually contribute to the price of the development that involved with it. That's one aspect. In dealing with the licenses for the business premises, we also do the same thing. We simplify, we review the current procedures, simplify, so that will help the investors, the business community, to have a prompt or quick approval. By doing that, they will not be having too much of holding costs. That's our interest. So whatever that is within our capacity, we definitely want to deliver as much as we can. But again, there are certain sectors, certain activities which are not within our control. They will do something like we urge, or we have probably certain committee, if we can sell it as a committee, to actually assist or to clear any problem that faced by the potential investors. That one can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sri.
On the neutrality project, target seeing many incentives, which is, I think, very positive. But do you think you'll have in the future to adopt a more restrictions-based approach, for example, with traffic? I think about access to KLCC, restriction on old cars, in order to reach that target. Something that would be, well, very less popular. Thank you.
Excellency, yeah, United Nations mentioned very specifically that the city must also be looked and get them, as I mentioned in the briefing, the presentation. We have got the plan, we have got the blueprint. But then there are a lot of sources that produce carbon. One of them is the traffic in the city. And we have got another policy for the dealing with traffic congestion in the city. They want more people to take public transport. The target is by 2040, 70% of people in KL must use public transport. It can be very ambitious target, but we must set a target so that we know how to have the program to move forward. So by doing that, we are actually have set up a task force for this purpose, and I'm quite sure they will come in with certain constraint or certain imposition on the people that they will not be allowed to bring cars into the highly congested area in the city. I think it will be introduced that kind of imposition to address traffic volume in the city. Apart from that, we also have to provide, we have to be fair to the residents. We have to provide enough facilities. That's why we are looking at it in totality, comprehensively. We provide the facilities by and by. We provide the services, first mile and last mile services. We also provide free feeder bus services, and all this must be in place. If the people still want to drive, despite all the facility has been made available, then I think it's fair for the city council to impose on them some restriction. We can also tax them to pay for creating the congestion. I think so, I don't know. But I think we'll move towards that.
I think diplomats can record here as a resolution of the meeting.
Last opinion sharing.
Thank you, Hannah Birdsey from the Australian High Commission. Thank you very much, Dr. Sri, for that very informative presentation, sustainability for the city. I would also like just to take this opportunity in particular to say thank you to DBKL for the cooperation and support provided to the High Commission, in particular for our upcoming cultural diplomacy program, Australia Now, Malaysia. We look forward to working with you on some exciting events around that. I had the opportunity recently to attend the opening of Study Melbourne Hub, which the Victorian State Government has established in KL. And I think that sort of physical investment speaks to the importance of the education relationship between Australia and Malaysia, but also the attractiveness of KL as an investment destination. And that perhaps prompted my question, which is, I'm interested to hear about any strategies, programs or plans for the engagement of youth services and engagement to youth in the city of KL going forward. Thank you.
Excellency, yes, it is for all sectors in the city must be looked, the interest of all people in the city must be looked into seriously. So that's why we are having, we like to have a lot of engagement with all the interested parties, with all the affected parties, with the investors, the local businessmen or business community, as well as the local residents. Local residents, it can be in different groups. Maybe the youth, the senior citizens, because at the moment in KL we are having high percentage of senior citizens. So all this need to be, the needs of these people or this group need to be ascertained so that we will be able to offer the facility that they need in the city. So I look at it globally, and we are open to have any discussion, probably with the embassy, to clear any issues as regards to any particular or probably program or any particular solutions that you probably want us to participate or to help or to offer, please come back to us, and we are open to all this. Thank you.
That could be fake news, but the last survey shows that 70% of our talent retain talent. And how do you retain talent? Obviously, talent is moving out of the country because they're probably not silver bullet, but this is where InvestScale comes in. Our mission is to bring in multinational companies, big corporates to set up their regional hub, center of excellence, and so on and so forth, as a control tower for this region. So when they come in, one of the primary reasons for them being here is the cost advantage. Cost advantage not only in terms of the ecosystem, but also in terms of employment, right? The salary scale. So we're hoping that our Malaysian talent would get, if you like, regional jobs so that their salary would be, say, 50% higher than if they have gone to a local corporate. And we have done that quite successfully because one of the things we do as a annual plan is really to track the employment of Malaysian talent, their average salary per annum, if you like, to try and stop this possible brain drain out. So it's a small contribution, but it probably goes a long way. My popular story is that I go to Malaysia quite a lot, not because I travel. I happen to be the senior independent director of Malaysia Airport, also the chairman of the duty free. So I tend to walk around, and sometimes you get a young man coming up to say, "Hello, how are you?" And I said, "I don't know who you are." And I said, "Well, I actually am employed by Honeywell, some of those companies." He said, "Because of that, I didn't leave to go Singapore or Hong Kong. Not so much the money. Given the choice, all of them want to be with their family." And I think this pandemic does show that people need to now look at the priorities, right? So I'm hoping that the little input, the little contribution InvestScale puts in will probably help. I can't remember, probably about 7,000 youth so far, and we track, right? But the other program we have, I think Encik Azmi will be able to share. We are looking at the Fit for Work program, and we're also upskilling our local graduates coming in versus the gap with the expectation of multinational companies, and we try and fill up the gap so that both parties win-win situation. So if you look at the reason why KL, apart from all the reasons, they say is talent. What is the weakness of Kuala Lumpur? The lack of talent. So it's been an oxymoron, but we hope to close that gap. So you have touched on a great point. We have incredible institutions of learning in this country, good on the academic, great on the IQ, lacking on EQ, experience and exposure to the global commercial reality that we are facing. Thank you. I hope that adds to the question. Thanks.
About sustainable, about electric vehicles, public parks management even, what's happening there. Looking at KL as an SDG center and how can we communicate that better to more people. Looking at technology and how all these projects and aspirations of Kuala Lumpur is to be financed for the good of the city. A good question about carbon neutrality project, restrictions on approach of vehicles and so on. And most importantly, under the inclusivity banner, about the youth, about other groups of people that we need to be addressing as well. So with that, Dato' Sri, Mayor, thank you very much for your sharing. I'd like to end the session by sharing a quote from Thomas Jefferson, President of America. "I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past." With that, we also look forward to the plans that have been shared by the Mayor, the 2030 plan, the 2050 plan, and let us together make this city a livable, a place for us to work, play, and redefine. Thank you, Dato' Sri.
Any of you has got any issues, in particular dealing with city, he's prepared to have a one-to-one session. Okay, I'm not sure where he's going to give you a number. You want to flash it up? So he would also may come and see you on this. So say for instance ESG, some of you are obviously well ahead to see some of you. Definitely WestKL is trying to organize perhaps some visit to some of our bigger scale. So every time I knock on his door to ask for grant, because we proved to him that.
Thank you to the CEO of WestKL for moderating the session. A special thank you to the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur and Chairman of WestKL, as well as Your Excellencies for participating in our dialogue session. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude today's event by inviting everybody for a photo session, which will be taking place right here in this room on the left side. You will be guided by our ushers. It will just take us about 1 minute to set up the photo session taking.
With or without mask?
With mask.
So we don't need to smile. So.
Yeah. So ushers, can you please guide everybody, please? So I would like to.
Kita buat guru ke? Move maybe 2 steps to this side, standing one, yeah, because it's off balance a little bit. So just move a little bit here, yeah. So let me check a little bit. Even kalau you start. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we do a clap, okay?